Join us for a special feature of the VW T-Roc R on snow and ice. Let's go! Same as the Golf R, the T-Roc R also gets this lapis blue special R paint. And of course the sporty R version here with a sportier lower bumper in black contrast. Glossy, then the daytime running light are here in a vertical way. That's also special. And this, let's say, honeycomb structure style front grille, so everything sportier. Yeah, we got those hinges here front and back, so we can also be pulled out of the snow. That won't happen today. No, it won't. It won't. Cannot promise. We'll see about that one later. 4 meters 23, 13 foot 9 or 166 inches is the length of the VW T-Roc. And it's the same, of course, also for the R version. And you can see this R version not only sits lower, as I told you, also have the R badge right there. Still, it comes with those plastic fenders around the wheel arches, so there is still this off-road look, and I think they also did that the difference to the Golf R is still there, because when you put the T-Roc lower and also have painted wheel arches, it might look too much Golf R alike. That could be one reason. There will of course also be a Golf R of the new Golf 8 generation. We'll keep you updated with that. In the rear we see a typical compact hatch style. And I really like it when there's some snow in the car. It just, it's a little bit special. You can also check out our dry episode. We filmed near Nice, where we also really hit the roads and launch control and so on and so on. You can also compare that. I think it's really cool to see both episodes, actually. The logo here flips for the trunk or also for the rear view camera. Here again, those, emergency hinges. I hope that Touareg will not pull us out at some time. And then on this car, the optional Akrapovic exhaust is mounted. You already hear it right now, because the car needs to be kept running here when it's really, really cold. Otherwise, there could be problems to start it again. Has nothing to do with this special car. It's just when it's super, super cold. Our viewers from, up in the north will know that you just leave the car basically running all the time, unless you have maybe in a heated garage or something. What do we have under the hood? First of all, no hydraulic struts like in the Golf R of the MK7. But you all know the Golf 8 also won't have hydraulic struts. Well, this one here, 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine, 300 horsepower, 400 Newton meters of torque. In this case, only 7-speed DSG, dual clutch transmission. No manual available as in the current Golf R MK7. There you have the choice. Actually, here you don't. And all-wheel drive is front plus rear on demand. So before there's slip, even more power is transported to the rear wheels. It's more anticipating. That's also a big difference to the Golf R. This one here is an updated system, so it reacts earlier and sends more stuff, more torque to the rear wheels. And it also depends on the driving mode. So in the sports mode, for example, there's already a little bit more to the rear wheels. In the T-Roc R, there's in general more power to the rear wheels. And especially in the off-road mode, there's even more power to the rear wheels. So we will probably use the off-road mode here on snow and ice today to get it even sportier. That's definitely a very interesting aspect, and we'll see how that one plays out, if this one will also be an advantage to the Golf R here, for example, when we also drove it on the frozen lake. So very interesting aspects to come. Dashboard, sadly again all hard pack, so those two things. I mean, yeah, a T-Roc in general 20k something, that's okay. Then a full spec one 40k, and then the T-Roc R 44k. That's even a couple of €1,000 less expensive than the Golf R, by the way. But of course, spec'd all the way as it is here, then close to 50k as well. And for that, we should expect also soft touch materials on the dashboard at the inside of the door. Let's see what the facelift brings at some point. Steering wheel with the R logo and flat bottom. Sporty, pretty cool. The active info display, by the way, those digital instruments, they come standard for the T-Roc R. So at least this is then the standard equipment. The seats, in this case here, the not necessary animal skin seats, which are also not good for those conditions because they are really cold in winter times then. So we also have as standard, that's of course good, the fabric seat with Alcantara inserts. We filmed them earlier at our first review, and of course just stick with the standard seats, save money, have it cool in summer and warm in winter, and also better grip, especially in racy situations when you have fabric and Alcantara surfaces. Now let's get inside, and you might remember this one here, the T-Roc sits higher than the Golf, and T-Roc R same as the Golf, but the T-Roc R then still higher as the Golf R. Yeah, it's not that easy, but I think you got that. So the interior overview, again, no way in a 50k car. No way. But the blue is actually quite nice. You see, quite fancy. It has a Golf layout. A lot of parts are being shared with the Golf, but also with the Polo, so more to that. Again, this compact steering wheel, white contour stitches, honeycomb structure here at the inside. That's really nice. Also the quality of the buttons here, for example, at the steering wheel. This is really very good. And straightforward design here also with a separate climate unit. I like to have that. It doesn't have to be over-engineered like in the Golf MK8. I still like to be able to also activate the seat heating in a straightforward way. Or what's your take on that? Soon more details to those screens. Just basic information. 6.5 would be standard, and optional this one, the 8-inch screen. Sadly, doesn't come standard equipped with the 8-inch screen. I think they should have also included that in the standard equipment with the T-Roc R. But even the biggest one has here still a volume knob and a zoom-in knob for the GPS. I think that's good. Then if we move further down, we have an inductive charging pad for the phone. But when you use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you use the normal USB-A devices. Two there are anyway. Start-stop button, then the 7-speed DSG shifting lever, no manual available. And then in the lower part, there is this drive mode selector where we can go in the off-road mode, for example, or go to the normal driving modes and then pick, for example, also the race mode and so on. And the ESC can be deactivated not only in the screen, but also with a separate button. So digital instruments are controlled via the steering wheel, and you can also have the GPS right here. So that's of course cool, flexible with those digital instruments. You can change the view that you have the GPS all over the place. Now we can see we are on that lake, indeed on that lake. And here's the catch for this system, which has the software of the Polo and not from the Golf. You can only display the map either left or right. So I have to switch it around, and then it's not in the digital instruments anymore, but just here. They say the software or the hardware even would not be capable of that processor, power-wise. Yeah, I don't know. You can zoom in and out like this. That's actually pretty cool. Or still use this knob. That's also really helpful, especially while driving. So it's a straightforward system. I like it. The software is great. It's just, it should be able to display it left and right at the same time. And it was the same case in the Golf, in the Passat, with the older active info display. Yeah, I'm not sure why they didn't go for the system right here. Probably cost savings, but I mean, come on. So then the app view here for the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto fills out the whole screen. That's actually quite cool. And let's listen to what Gareth Emery has to say about this with the Beats sound system. And it's pretty cool. Sounds quite rich. Nice surround sound. So for a compact vehicle, it's actually quite nice. And see the Apple CarPlay integration is quite cool. Well, what about the rear compartment? Again, so cool when it's all snowed in. So what happened? And by the way, it's also good, those tests, that the doors open, when they are all snowed in. Yeah. Oh, some cool effect. Breaking the ice. That's a real icebreaker here. Oh, some snow now on the seats. Too bad. But that's what's happening. Hey Jonas, what did you do with the co-driver seat? Pushed it all the way back? Yeah. But I have my seat as I would be driving. Hardback, of course, here at the back door. Oh, and you see you still have the black inserts here at the rear. You don't have the blue insert at the rear. They could have put the blue ones there, couldn't they? Well, now getting inside. And the shoe tab is today even more important to get all the snows from the shoes. And it's compact hatch standard. You do fit you with 4 adults, yes, but not too much legroom, although I had the steering wheel all the way out, so I could a little bit go backwards with the seat, so I could also push the seat a little bit more forward. That would also work. I could still drive that. So 4 adults do work, but not, in an abundant way. Headroom does exactly fit, also with my beanie. And if I would not have the panoramic roof, there would be a little bit more headroom. Come closer for the panoramic roof, because that's quite cool. We won't open that here at the moment, because it might get wet then. But you can open it all over the place, almost. So like up till here. That's pretty cool. And even if it's closed, it's leaving more light in the interior. And that's, of course, pretty nice. So now to the rear hatch, and a lot to discover here. First of all snowed in now. That's pretty cool. After some drifting actions. Oh, it's really like an iced hinge right here. Wow, it's all the way ice now. Wow. So that's where we could be, pulled out, actually. So if we would land in the snow barrier, but it did not happen today. So yeah, kind of proud of that. Definitely. So big question was, for example, does the rear view camera, which is hidden behind the logo, flip even when it's like snow and ice? Yes, it always worked, actually. So that was pretty cool. And you see it still works also when I flip it here. So they thought about that. It's also experience to be gotten here. Welcome to Thomas's Ice Driving Lounge with the new Volkswagen T-Roc R, and we're starting here on this first ice track, and we'll talk about different driving modes. We'll talk about the comparison to the Golf R, and camera equipment flying around already. And we have the G-force monitor here as well. And of course, we're also going to talk about the general sporty features here of the T-Roc R. And first of all, I'll start with the, let's say, customer setup with ESP on, electronic stability control on. And the funny thing is, it really drives like on rails, Even if you, enter the corner a little bit too fast, here, car is braking out, it's being caught in, and I don't have to work so much with the steering wheel. Even if I hit the throttle a little bit harder, everything is fine. Here, I slide out a little bit, then the individual wheel is being reduced in speed, and you're actually quite safe, although we're driving on ice. But we have studded tires, so we have about, ice is less grip, of course, then with studded tires. The overall result here is 50% grip, as we would have on the dry asphalt. So that's really cool, and of course it's a safe thing to know. Nevertheless, you cannot, that's, when you put the wipers here, but sometimes, then it's snowing a little bit, then we have to do the wipers. So still, you have to maintain a certain speed. You cannot defy the laws of physics. So then we have the ESC Sport. That is allowing us a little bit of play, for example, and then we can also put this the shifting lever, to the M mode. Then we are staying in the different gears. We can also use the shifting pedals. That's of course a lot of fun. And when, for example, I'm here at the outside of the corner and accelerate out just a little bit, then I can slide out just a little bit with the ESC Sport. So that means with the ESC Sport, you can have a little bit of fun without, doing everything on your own. You still have somewhat of a safety net here. This very close cornering here, I can play with the rear of the vehicle, no problem. Front wheel drive plus rear on demand, but we already know, told you earlier, the T-Roc R sets more power to the rear wheels than the Golf R, or let's say, like not in maximum, but maximum is 50-50, but earlier, that's the thing. So, and even more we feel it, of course, when we put the ESC off. And let's say we have two special modes as well we can test, and one is race. Then we have also the best sound, sound. Interesting word. Exhaust sound, sound. Cool. So then we have in the race mode the best sound, so to say. And now we want to hold this ESC button. So first activate, and then we hold it, and then there we go. Now, so there's also this warning sign. That means now it's completely off and I can really hammer the throttle. And I also have it on the M shifting mode. So the thing is, even in the race mode, after a while, like I think it's like 6,000 RPM, the car will still shift up itself. This can be changed, more to that very soon. First of all, now in the race mode with the ESC off, then I can really play around with the car. Here the rear comes out, and I really feel that there is earlier, there it was, a little bit over 6,000 RPMs, then the car was shifting itself from second gear to third gear. So indeed, if you compare it to the Golf R, I feel there's a little bit earlier torque on the rear axle, and that's of course really helpful here when doing some drifting and stuff. And in off-road situations, it would also be definitely helpful. So this is another development they made right here. And this is also one thing that leads to the VW T-Roc R being possibly a little bit faster here on those IS tracks. Yes, I admit it, I held the microphone in direction to my feet, and it sounded a little bit more spectacular when I was walking in the picture. Yeah. Anyway, now to the conclusion for today with the VW T-Roc R. First of all, it's a performance compact SUV or crossover, yes, and it makes sense in a way. You sit a little bit more upright, still want to have some performance. So more combination of comfort and performance. That's the basic sense of the car we already found out in our dry driving review. Exterior wise, it has a strong front, still has a crossover wheel arches, so it still gets the crossover look, but of course it's a little bit lower than, and so it is somewhat similar Golf alike, so to say. Interior wise, looks quite good. It's straightforward as for using everything. It's a very easy to control vehicle. That's good. We see there are some shortcomings as for the hard pack materials instead of the door and the dashboard, and also the infotainment system where it can only display the map on one side. So I think that's something they should work on. Again, when you have a base T-Roc, you can maybe understand that because they also don't want to exceed the pricing. Yet again, especially when you have a high-priced T-Roc or a T-Roc R, even if it's a little bit less expensive than a Golf R, still that's something, at that price point should be included. Other than that, especially those R seats with the fabric and the Alcantara we had in our earlier car, those are really very good, and they fit also very well in the car when they have a little bit more upright seating position. So you do have some more comfort than in a Golf. Driving wise, of course, both cars come somewhat in the same direction, because they also share a lot of parts, technology-wise and so on. Same engine, same transmission and so on. Yet again, there is some difference because you sit a little bit higher, and on dry road, the Golf R is faster, yes. But it's really interesting that here on those conditions here, this one could be the better car, because then again, with leaning in the corners, you have an advantage, like with the rally vehicles. They also have softer suspension, whereas on dry racetrack you put a harder suspension. Then again, with the off-road or all-wheel drive system, that rules the torque a little bit earlier to the rear. That's of course very helpful. And then you're a little bit more flexible as for the off-road mode, which also again boosts the rear torque and reacts a little better, and so on. Well, but race mode, there you still have a little bit better sound when you have that one activated. Which one would I pick still here for the track? I mean, here, this car actually makes more sense than the Golf R, and you can actually also drive it faster, or maybe even easier, but still the Golf R feels a little bit racier because of that lower precision, and that's definitely a matter of preference. I'm not sure. I think because this lake here for me belongs to the Golf R somehow still, because I've been driving the Golf R here all those years. Maybe I also have a strong emotional connection to that for this case then. But for most customers, this car could make more sense. Also, of course, for the everyday driving life. Yeah, but at the moment, the MK7 Golf also has those soft touch materials on the inside. So, to me, an interior is also very, very important. So that's why I could maybe still go for the MK7 Golf R. Let's see how that one will look like with the MK8 Golf R, because next year, when we're back right here, probably we will have that phone for you. So stay tuned here on Autogefuehl. I hope you really liked our insight for today. We had a lot of fun drifting on the lake for sure. I hope you enjoyed that as well. And also check out the dry episode from Nice with this vehicle. Check out the snow episode from the Golf MK7R. So hope to see you there. And of course, everywhere with our other reviews. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Thanks to Jonas for all the camera magic. And see you next time.